Hi, and welcome back to Uncomfortable Truths We Avoid. This is episode 11, The Life I Built Anyway. The uncomfortable truth we avoid is that sometimes life doesn't always work out the way we want it to. Sometimes we have to take a different look at our dreams and we have to switch it up. And that's exactly what I did. So, you listened to all my stories and you heard about everything that went on in my life and how I got here. This is the life I built anyway. I reached this point where I reached every level I wanted to when I started out my journey. I got my associates, my bachelor's, my master's. I did get my dream job, the job that I love, and I built that on my own with the support of my friends and family. And for that, I'm very blessed. So, for all my friends and family, I love you. Thank you. I am really wanting to move forward with this series, talking about different things that are uncomfortable just in our daily lives. Um, there's things that we encounter on a daily basis, especially being middle aged. I've talked about I'm 45 years old, things are changing, bodies are changing, and things aren't exactly the way they used to be. So I want to talk about different things like that as we move forward. But my next episode is going to be a wild card, man. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be um, something that really hits home for everybody because I know that we all think about these things, we just don't address them. Um, so, building my life the way I wanted to, it wasn't always easy. Not every day was easy. So this podcast is for those of you who are actually starting over and having to rethink your life completely. I want you to know that starting over is not the worst thing in the world. And you can do whatever you want as long as you really, really want it badly enough. I mean, I'm proof of that. I always say if I can do it, anybody can. So if you're in a situation that you're not happy with, you need to get moving and stop sitting in sadness because sadness gets you nowhere. So let's get out of that hole and move forward. So basically, building a life that you want isn't always pretty. Like I said, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have days where you're crying in the shower. And let's be real, all of you, most of you who are watching this podcast have had some pretty bad days. I mean, every day isn't perfect. There's days where we just feel sad and we feel lonely and we feel depressed. I mean, that's everybody. But, that's part of it being a human being, basically. We're not robots. We do have feelings. You do have to take those feelings and put them away when you're trying to reach for a goal. You start by recognizing who's in your life that has always supported you. And I mean your family, your friends, maybe coworkers that you've developed really great friendships with. But you need to be grateful for the people in your life who've never left your side. Those are the people that are always going to be in your corner. Those are the people that are going to show up for you every single time you're in a crunch. So you need to focus on the good things you have in your life. Life is full of pitfalls. If you just sit and think about the pitfalls you have every day, you're never going to move forward. So what you need to do is you need to gather all your feelings, put them in a box and move on. It's easy to remember all the bad things, right? But it's really hard to sometimes remember the good things. And I've made it a point in my life to really put the good things first and try to look at those things rather than the bad things. Because when you look at all the bad things, they'll really set you back. So you really need to come up with a plan, come up with a long-term plan, long-term goals. You can build your own life, whatever you want it to be. But again, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but everything is a challenge. So, I'm just encouraging you to move forward. The uncomfortable thing about it is that life keeps rolling. We keep getting older, things keep changing. And as we get older, there's a lot of uncomfortable truths we avoid. Let's be real here. I mean, I avoid like a large percentage of things I'm uncomfortable with. It could be anything. We're going to talk about real things, moving forward. We're going to talk about the pressure to always be perfect, the pressure to always look your best, the pressure that people have, especially middle-aged. When you're in your middle age, this is both men and women, are pressured to look a certain way. And a lot of people have turned to cosmetic surgery. They've turned to different methods to lose weight. And the primary reason to lose weight should be your health and you want to live longer. But unfortunately, some people are turning to these methods not because of their health and they want to live longer, but because they want to meet a certain beauty standard. And I mean, that's probably not the best way to go about it. I've been on my own health journey. This has been because I want to live a long life and I want to be there for my sons and I want to be able to see them, have their own lives. And I want to be around for that. So there's different things that we're going to talk about as we move forward, that I want to address. The plastic surgery, all that fun stuff. I have not had any plastic surgery. Of course, all of you know that I did go through a breast cancer journey, and I didn't mention that at all during my past episodes, right? Because during myself building my life anyway, this was one of the battles that I faced, was my, being diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was, it was something I avoid talking about it. And that's the truth, because I don't like to remember that I had it. And a lot of people who know me, who are close to me, I've shared this with them. This is not something you won't usually see me posting anything on my page about it. It's very rare. Many people tell me I should be proud that I faced it and I won my battle with breast cancer, but there's so many people who don't. And it wasn't a time in my life that I like to look back on, because there's a lot of moments during that year in 2022 that I was facing breast cancer that, I had some pretty down days, and I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. And it's hard, when you're diagnosed with things that as you get older, you're diagnosed with all kinds of stuff, right? Like you could be going about your everyday life and you go to your doctor. Oh, by the way, you've got osteoarthritis. Oh, you have rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, now you're diagnosed. Now you have this, you have that. Like, wow. It's like you cross the 40 and it opens up Pandora's box of all the things that could go wrong with you. And it's true. All of you who are listening, like, you're like sitting there and you're like, what's going on, man? Like, I'm falling apart over here. We're all falling apart. It's not just you. So there's a lot of things that I had to go through during my journey that weren't so favorable. And then there was the recovery period. It took a whole maybe 2 or 3 years to feel normal after breast cancer, because I couldn't even keep up with, I couldn't even walk. Like I couldn't even walk next to somebody without being out of breath and feeling tired and winded, and getting dressed, wearing bras and things like that were uncomfortable. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about because I felt like it was such an out of body experience. But, I continued on. I soldiered on. I just looked at it as another battle. And I think one of the main reasons I did, get through that is because I kept a positive attitude even on the bad days. And I did show up even on the bad days. So, it wasn't always perfect. You're not always going to have a perfect journey as you're rebuilding, but just remember it's part of the process and you'll be okay. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to work out, like they always say. I know you don't like to hear it, but it always does work out. It really does. I'm going to wrap it up for today. I know it wasn't really a long show today. I just wanted to give you my thoughts and tell you how we're going to move forward with this. I'm going to touch on a lot of different topics, and I'm going to say the next episode is going to be a wild card. So just wait and see. We'll find out. It's going to be something that we all think about. But until next time, this is Uncomfortable Truths We Avoid. If anything I talk about resonates with you, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.